Ben ritrovato amico caro e fidato, nel cuore gioia hai portato, la serie ti adori qui, tu da brillare.
Hi Gary, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here. The room is full of person that want to know some secrets from you here. about
I have to
artificial
warn you,
intelligence and
I'm not
notevole.
going to reveal any secrets because I don't have any.
So let's start. You are one of the greatest chess players of the world now, but tell us what inspired you during your starting point, and how do you develop your playing style, and what have been the most significant and satisfying moment in your chess career?
Look, I can hardly recall the moment where I was introduced to the game of chess. So, according to family legend, I watched my parents trying to solve a problem from a newspaper, a local newspaper, and I immediately got fascinated, even mesmerized by the secrets of this small wooden chessboard and some pieces. And I learned how to make moves, how to play, even without being advised. And it happened 55 probably or 54 years ago, and I'm still very passionate about the game. Regarding the style, you know, there are roads that we choose and there are the roads that choose us. So I think the style of a chess player or any other great athlete or a politician or a business person reflects his or her character. So I'm very dynamic, I would say an aggressive person, and my style was also very aggressive. It doesn't mean that it's the best way to go, because it's very important that when you make choices, you try to feel comfortable about these choices. And I grew up as a player who always wanted to attack, but then with age, so maturing, I recognized that there are many other elements of the game, and I managed to put it all together very nicely, and by age 22, I became the youngest world champion in history. It's back in 1985. Speaking about the most satisfying moment, I don't think any moment in the game of chess, my game of chess, could match the moment of the end of my second match with Karpov. I think it was 6 minutes to 10 Moscow time on November 9, 1985, when Karpov resigned and I was proclaimed the 13th world champion.
Thanks. And passing to AI, you challenged against AI, no? Particularly against Deep Blue, and that match passed the annals of history. And what does it mean to compete against a machine? And what did you feel when you described the worst defeat of your career?
It's probably more precise to put it the other way around. It's actually myself and other chess players have been challenged by machines. Because from the very beginning of computer science, the founding fathers like Alan Turing, Claude Shannon, Norbert Wiener, they believed that the chess could be the final battle between humans and machines to discover whether machines could be intelligent. And they thought that machines had to be very specific, you know, just somehow copying our thinking process. In real life, you know, Deep Blue, as every other computer, was all about brute force. And before this match in 1997, I played many other games against machines. Actually, I beat Deep Blue in 1996. But the history started earlier. I played it in the late 80s, and we all faced machines in early and mid 90s. But the importance of the match in 1997 was not just, you know, to see the dawn of artificial intelligence. I have to say that Deep Blue was as intelligent as your alarm clock. It was not intelligent at all. It didn't have to be intelligent. Machines are dominating in all the games, not because of intelligence, but because they make fewer mistakes. I have to emphasize, making fewer mistakes. And all humans, even the best of us, we are doomed to make some mistakes. And machines are punish us without any mercy. And for me, this was, you said, okay, defeat of my career. Actually, it was my first match I lost. Not against machines, but period, first match. So naturally, my feelings on May 11, 1997 were not very exhilarating. But now, 27 years later, I look back at this moment and I understand that it was not a curse. It was more of a blessing. Because I was one of the first to understand that the future is not to compete against machines, but to work with them.
Great to know. And in 2003, you once again challenged an AI, no? Deep Junior, which was much more complex and powerful than the previous one. The match ended in a draw, but many analysts claim that in Game 7, you were in a potentially advantaged position. Can you tell us why you agreed to draw despite a positional advantage?
Look, yeah, I played 2 matches in 2003. One was against Israeli computer, one against German computer. They were not as fast as Deep Blue, but they were much more advanced. Both matches ended as a tie, and the one that you mentioned against Deep Junior was very tough match. I won the first game, then I lost a very promising position, game 3. At the last game of the match, correct, I was in a very promising position. But imagine, it's the last game of the match. So it's a tie. And I'm facing the machine. It's not that winning, it just I had promising position. Against any human, I would have continued. But I looked around and realized that pushing hard may end up as a disaster because, again, it's a computer. And I was tired, and again, I think it was normal human response to recognize the fact that winning this game would take a lot of energy, and I'm not sure that I could deliver it because beating machine it requires much more creativity and energy than beating against human because you will fight to the last minute. There will be no mistakes, no sudden collapse. Machine will fight, to the last pawn, it will fight a nail and tooth. So that's why I thought making a draw would be a good idea. And also I knew that this match is probably the end one, the end of the road. It's the last one. Because I recognize that in the next few years, as it happened in 2005, 2006, machines could be too strong for us to challenge.
Great. And how have chess changed since you start playing, especially with the advent of AI and technology?
You know what it is? It's a mobile phone, yes. I'm sure you see. The same change, You remember the phones, in the 60s and 70s? So this is the distance that we walked. Everything has changed. So every aspect of our life has changed because of technology. And chess is no exception. Chess very much is the mirror of all the societal and technological processes in our world. And in the beginning of my chess career in late 60s, early 70s, I remember we had to look for the books, just making notes. It was a very laborious process. Actually, it was not bad because I learned how to work hard and to collect data. Today, it just, it's a slip of a finger and you can get all the information you need. And also, with machines being so powerful, the opening preparation has changed. So you have to be very, very precise in preparing because your opponent could actually, refute everything simply looking at the screen of the machine. And another element, which I think it's positive in the balance, though sometimes it gets me annoyed, is that now we have millions of people that can follow the games, played by the best players in the world, without any commentators to understand what's going on. When I played Karpov back in the 80s, nobody could criticize us, even if we made mistakes, because we were like high priests, in the temple. Now, the moment Magnus Carlsen is making a mistake, everybody is laughing. He made a mistake because machine told you so. That's why I said it's a little bit annoying because to see that any amateur could now be highly critical of the world champion, somehow, that stomps on my pride. But I understand it's good for the game because it helped us to expand the area of chess popularity.
We are analyzed even after the match now, yeah. And passing over to chess now, what in talking about politics and your activism, what role does political activism play in your life, especially concerning your effort to safeguard human rights and defend democracy?
Look, I grew up in the Soviet Union, and I somehow realized at very early moments that chess was inseparable from politics, because in the Soviet Union it was a very ideological game. It's a tool to demonstrate the intellectual superiority of communist regime over decadent West. But again, it was passive participation. I was a chess player. But since I became world champion and during Gorbachev perestroika, I thought that it would be very important for me to take part of the changes, because I wanted my country to move in the right direction. And it was back and forth. I have been playing chess, but I always try to take part of the important events in my country, though I'm not sure that all things I did, like supporting Yeltsin, for instance, in 1996, were really productive, but I did what I believe was right to help my country. In 2005, I was terrified by the direction my country was taking. I could foresee the rise of dark times and the return of KGB dictatorship. And I ended my professional career and started a political campaign. Though for me it was more like fighting for human rights and democracy. And this fight that we had in Russia, it was not on even terms, and it ended up with me living in exile, because I had to choose between facing imminent arrest or life abroad. So in February 2013, I had to leave Russia. But I have never stopped fighting for democracy in my country and also worldwide. I'm chairman of Human Rights Foundation since 2012, follow the footsteps of one of my heroes, Václav Havel. And I believe that today, you cannot separate fight for democracy in one country from the rest of the world. It's very important to recognize that everything is connected. And these days, at these moments, as we speak, there are several wars going on, but the biggest one is Ukraine. And we could see that in Ukraine, while the free world is helping Ukraine, you have other side helping Putin, North Korea, Iran, China. So we have dictators cooperating. And I think it's very important for us to recognize that we have to go beyond our differences that are very small compared to the challenges, existential challenges coming from the unfree world to us.
Yeah, so you outline the relationship between chess, life, and politics, no? And do you believe that chess can play a broader role on society or education?
Look, we should not try to overvalue the game of chess. I always say the aptitude for playing chess is nothing else than aptitude for playing chess. But we also should recognize that these days the concept of effective education has to change. For so many years, for so many centuries, we're stuck with the original concept of the teacher in the classroom or in the student auditorium was the center of universe, center of authority and knowledge. So that's why there was very little change from the days of University of Bologna back in the 12th century to the beginning of or middle of the 20th century. Now we facing a new interesting phenomenon, because every kid can actually swipe a finger and find out any answer. So the information is available in a split of a second. That's why the role of a teacher should be corrected. And I don't think we are yet up to this challenge. It's not about teaching what, but rather teaching how. We don't have to share information with kids. The teacher is no longer the owner of information. He should help children, students, to learn how to apply the knowledge to the challenges of our life. And that's fundamentally different task. And again, as I said, we yet to meet these challenges. Yeah, and the game of chess, just to add, game of chess can actually help to form the mind of a youngster towards the solutions, like building bridges. Here's the data, and I can build a bridge, recognizing how this piece of data can help me to walk, from A to Z and to find a solution.
Yeah, I strongly agree with that. And going again to AI, how much do you believe the advent of AI has influenced sports, society, and politics? And do you think that humans can still compete with machines today? Or do you believe it's necessary to impose limits or allow to exponential development of new technologies?
There are many questions in one, actually. Again, competing against machines in mind games is no longer an option. Machines are dominant in everything that you can classify as a closed system, which means, you have the game with the rules, like chess or Japanese chess called shogi, or some video games, or Go, or Texas Hold'em poker. Machine will eventually beat the human after doing millions and millions of iterations and coming up with the patterns that are more sophisticated, period. That's no question. Is it bad? I don't think so, because we're still enjoying track and field. But even the best athletes, they cannot compete with Maserati. Maybe first 50 meters, but then it's over. So what's the point? To abandon mind games if we know that machines are doing better. So I think we just have to recognize that the games are for humans to compete, but also we can learn from machines. So there's so much new things can be learned from machines, even in the game of chess. And I think it's overall balance of negatives and positives is in our favor. So machines affect everything. But you cannot expect machines to solve all the problems, because at the end of the day, even with superpowers that now being demonstrated in many instances, machines cannot answer all the questions. Again, it's not about solving the game, whether it's a game of chess or any other game, but it's about making fewer mistakes, as I said, and also finding new patterns, new ideas. So we have to all recognize that humans' participation, no matter how small in this decision-making process of working with machines, is still very valuable. Actually, I would say indispensable. And we just have to recognize that certain things are inevitable. Machines will develop. And I'm not in favor of coming up with tons of regulations and trying to stop it. Because this is, it's a human creativity. It's a development. If you start putting more and more regulations in Europe, it will move elsewhere. Even with nuclear proliferation, we have been facing many problems. But with computers, it's elementary. You push the button and the data is being downloaded on another side of the planet. So that's why, as much as I recognize why Europeans and Americans, the free countries, are trying to find regulations and impose certain restrictions, I also could see the danger of non-democratic countries that ignore regulations, like China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, or others, will benefit by doing research that will eventually, be more advanced. So we should remember that machines are not alien to us by nature. They are not enemies. I never understood why in the Terminator movies Skynet wanted to kill humans. Humans still have monopoly for evil. So the real danger comes from bad actors, from dictators, from thugs and terrorists around the globe getting access to these computers and using it against us. So that's why I suggest that we simply move forward, because the free people have an advantage of creativity. We always are ahead. We have all the production. We have all the ideas in the world that help us to advance. And the only way to secure us against the threats from the bad actors is to be 1 or 2 steps ahead.
Thanks a lot, Gary, for this interview.
Thank you very much for inviting me. And again, I hope I had some secrets to share, but at the end of the day, it's just, we just have to recognize certain realities of life.
And thanks to remembering us that human is still in the center, no? And
yes, we are in the center.
Yeah.
We're on top.
And we need to approach technology without fear. So thanks again, and we hope in the future to have you in person in Italy, no?
always happy to visit Italy.
Yeah,
So
there are a lot of person with chessboard waiting for a signature from you. Yeah.
Yes, I remember I had one of the biggest book signing session. I think it was in Bologna many years ago.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Gary, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
È stato bellissimo stare in tua compagnia. Ho persino creato questa canzone per te. Ricordati di iscriverti al canale, sempre se non lo hai già fatto. E attiva la campanella, mi raccomando. Questa è la tua serie di Infotime preferita e anche la mia, perché finalmente ho i diritti su questo pezzo.